Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 109 pre-show. We're all here. We're all probably a little tired from grinding out Destiny last couple nights, but we made it.
Yep. So Bungie sent out an email. Let me see if I can find it. Find mine. Just talking about the season. They put out a special offer for the Amanda Holiday ship, like a little figurine you can get.
Oh, really?
And then you can vote for which weapon you want to see get ornaments, and then a special emote offer after that.
How much is the ship?
Let me see. I didn't click on it, so I don't know. I'm going there right now. Pre-order $125. It's 8 inches tall, 7 inches wide.
Yeah, it is.
It's a 1 and 1/44 scale replica. Is that how you say that? I don't know.
Yeah.
1/144th?
Yeah. Somebody didn't collect NASCARs as a kid.
It's true, I didn't. I collect
drive fast,
wars.
turn left. Know it all too well.
What if you panic?
Turn left.
Do you just keep... Okay.
Raise hell, praise Dell, baby.
Well, and the pre-show, Fox was talking about
You're
his...
really more of a Jeff Gordon guy.
I was a fan of Jeff Gordon.
I'm not surprised. You look like a Jeff Gordon guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a 24 hat. Yep. And after he
always like
retired,
Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, the guy that came over. He came over from F1.
Yeah, I just rooted for him because I felt it would make the most people upset if he won.
That's correct.
Because he wasn't American.
Yep.
So, and I also like Kyle Busch because everybody seemed to hate him too. Yep.
I don't know much about NASCAR, but I know a bunch that hate Kyle Busch.
What were you saying about the pre-show before I rudely interrupted you?
Yeah, so Fox was looking at his Halloween costume, and for the
Oh,
longest time,
we can't.
I know I'm not telling you about, but for the longest time in my life, you had to just despise for anything like country or like being redneck or anything growing up. Like it was just like never anything. Like you always had like Jordan shoes, the black baggy shorts, and like until like recently you've like morphed. I think you're more country than I am now. So
no, dude, it's pure irony. That's the part that like I just all I can say is I think they have wonderful fashion in the South. We'll leave it at that.
As you grow, tastes change,
I mean, we're probably just a few months away from Fox getting some snakeskin cowboy boots.
Sheesh.
Yeah. I
was thinking about some alligator ones.
Try to get them signed by the Drifter.
Every now and then, don't the cowboy boots advertise on Bill Simmons' podcast? I forget the name of them, but like they was advertised on there for a while. And then
I forgot all about
Nephew
that.
Kyle got some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I got boots, man, they would be just the fanciest, just flamboyant boots that I could find.
Would you have spurs on them?
Duh. Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili. What I'd name him.
Tony and Manu. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch Tony Parker's documentary. I see those on Netflix, I think. Called like Last Shot or something. I don't know.
Wasn't very good.
Oh, okay.
It was it's pretty wild. Didn't his brother own a strip club or something?
Oh, I don't know.
Or maybe like an escort service. There's something weird with his brother. I can't recall exactly what it is. Whenever Chad's doing lore, oh, those are beautiful.
You like them? Those were all the rage in Mexico. I want to say a while ago,
Dude.
but I think they're still.
You think
circulating.
they had? We're 13. You think they got those in wide?
I think by Jared's face, he just saw them. He just clicked the link.
Yep.
They might.
Let's see. I think I can click.
But
No. Yeah, click that one. Bring him over. Yeah, this is what Fox is looking at.
Don't get them. That can be $1 million idea.
I won't.
I'm definitely not saying anything about that.
I need something with American flags on them, just to really match my my MAGA hat, you know. So.
Oh boy.
I don't. There it is. I don't think I can do a cowboy hat. I think that's like the
Oh, why not?
like when that would be like me entering my final form. I think. If I,
Okay.
I mean, first of all, the Mad Cowboy hats out there that can fit your head is very, very slim.
they're called
Like,
bucket hats. I think.
So I walked in one before.
Or a 10-gallon. I'd have to get a 20-gallon.
I was going to say a 15-gallon, but okay.
Yeah. So I walked in one of the cowboy hat stores down in Nashville once, and like just trying to find one that was size 8. Yeah, I mean, I should have been asking for the moon instead.
I think the trick is to hit one of those like places called like in Pigeon Forge and stuff. They have this just called like boot store. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I went in the boot store one time. It's exactly what you imagine it is. Very appropriately named.
Yep.
All right. You guys done being foolish?
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
All right. Clicking the button. Eyes up, Guardians. We are live for episode 109 of the Conqueror's Corner podcast. Today is every Cali boy's favorite day, April 20th, and I, the Destiny bad boy, NotRyanFox, have returned with my fire team, who all of you CCBs know by now. Jared?
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we're here with a GrandMaster Master and a level 6, so I'm sure you can figure out who those 3 are as for this podcast. I know one's easy to figure out and one's not. So I'll let the people decide of who's the master and who's the grandmaster. But we all know who the level 6 is.
That's right, forever 6, baby. And the chronicler himself, chadocero.
I wasn't aware of some stuff going on, but that makes sense. I will stop the guessing. I haven't done the commendations yet because I'm afraid of getting the best dressed commendation. So I haven't made my super ugly Titan yet, but I'm going to, and then I'm going to start wrecking shop in the Crucible. Problem is that might actually attract it, but we'll see what happens.
And remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, that you can take us on the road with you via Spotify, iTunes, and other podcast services. Make sure you subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, click the bell, turn on notifications, yada, yada, yada. Follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. Send us Spongy friend request so we can play games together. We got the TWAB this week, but before we get into the TWAB, Let's listen to the intro music from everybody's favorite Link, who you can find on Twitter at LinkOfTimeG.
All right, everyone. Pretty big week in this last week of Destiny, both in game and out of game. Some stuff that Bungie's put out this week is about accessibility, colorblind, and full auto mayhem. So they put out a pretty decent sized article going into how they're developing stuff in game to make it just more accessible all around. So that's like reticle changes, full auto melee changes, toggle settings, additions, subtle color choice, and a peek at the new commemorations if you have a variation of color blindness. So I guess those cards can look weird or look to be the same color. I'm not really something that I'm very familiar with, but they're making some updates to those in the future. Which I think we all love this game, so we want, everybody to play this game and enjoy it.
Absolutely. Some of the stuff seemed pretty cool with some of those before. I had kind of looked into maybe doing some of the colorblind stuff. I personally, I don't have any sort of colorblind, but for whatever reason, I kind of struggle with like orange bars and yellow bars in this game. For like literally like 5 years, I didn't even know there was a difference. And that's God's honest truth. They just look the same to me, and maybe my eyes were always my best feature. You know what I mean? But maybe they're not as nice as I thought. So I know some of them do, like they'll make them like brown and do some stuff, but I never could find one that looked good to me.
All right, next up is some exotics, and we're getting the first look at the Arbalest exotic that we voted on a couple of seasons ago, and this was like through the community voting on what Arbalest ornament to get. And Chad, I mean, you look a little upset there.
Yeah, I remember reading another one that I wanted more, and everybody liked this one because it had the whole Lightfall Neomuna kind of theme on it, and I'm wondering how many people's minds have been changed to be like, this aesthetic isn't as cool as it was back then, but it still looks rad. Like it was a really, really close game for me. So that was definitely a really, really hard choice, but I still like it. But I remember liking another one better. And the worst part is I can't even remember what it was.
It was Black Armory.
Ah, yes. That was it.
So you'll be able to pick that up in the Eververse next season for some Bright Dust, and I'll wait for somebody else to buy it and tell me what the reticle looks like. So right now the one I'm rocking has the red dot reticle, and if the reticle looks weird, then it probably won't be a pickup for me. But we have another vote coming up here, and you'll be able to choose between 3 weapons. It's Ignagi's Burden, with a Horde, and Thunder Lord. So, yeah, I think those 3.
It's tough, dude.
I mean,
yeah, there's those 3. The emails were already sent out. They might have been sent out erroneously because I already got mine. And I already voted. The Iggy Azalea already has the sword ornament. I don't think I'm ever gonna get rid of that. The Thunderlord recently got basically the same ornament that what was that sniper that came out in Beyond Light, the
Cloud
one
Strike.
with the lightning strikes? Cloud Strike, yeah. It got the same ornament as Cloud Strike with like the electric crystal rod going through it, and it looks awesome. So I definitely like that one the best. So I'm like, Wither Horde has some cool ones, but nothing really super grabs my attention on the Wither Horde. So that's the one I voted for.
Yeah,
see what happens.
you kind of spot on there. I think Witherhoard probably might have 4 ornaments at this point, but it's like might be the most popular exotic right now. I mean, just like everybody just loves Witherhoard and throws it on just for about any encounter. So, yeah, Witherhoard's going to get my vote. All right, and Fox is abstaining. So,
No, the hard part for me is I really like. There's like 2 of the Izanagi ornaments that I already like really well. The one that makes it look like the sword, and the other one I think it's called Ronin that has like ropes or something on it, maybe. The main issue is Thunderlord also, I think, has some pretty rad ornaments as well, right?
yeah.
There's so I don't really use Witherhoard all that much. Honestly, it's easier a lot of times. People, because you only want 1 or 2 out of the 6 to use it, and other people kind of use it more often than I do, and I have so much other stuff in the slot that I can kind of work around it. So I don't really use the weapon that much, but probably will have to vote for Witherhoard, even though I will likely never use it. So.
All right, so that's mainly it for the TWAB. However, the TWAB was written by someone new, and I think is it Timon? Am I saying that right, Chad? It's not.
I assumed it was Timon.
Yeah, and Pumbaa is the one you could pronounce it that way, Timon.
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't found him on Twitter yet. Has anybody tracked him down on Twitter?
Yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't been able to find it yet.
Okay, I'll work on that.
All right, so that's it for the TWAB. But now we're going to talk about some time we spent this week, and that was in GrandMasters and the Root of Nightmares Master Challenge. So last week we was able to get Glassway done, and this week we've got Proving Grounds knocked out along with Hypernet Current. Those 2 we did stream on the YouTube. So if you want to see what we did, that was our first runs of doing those.
Can I interject here just for a second? I updated OBS like a dummy, and because of that, the audio settings are terrible. Whenever I got my camera set up in OBS again, it was getting my camera audio plus my microphone audio. So the audio on those are terrible. Kind of corrected that already whenever we did our stream last night. So sorry about that. You can call me the Destiny Bad Audio Boy if you want. So
Destiny Bad Audio Boy. Okay. The D-Bab. All right. So Proving Grounds, we've done that a few times as a group now. I can't remember. Was this probably the 3rd or 4th time it being in the rotation?
I want to say, I want to say 4th, but 3rd or 4th is a good guess.
There's basically 2 places where you can wipe the tank room and then the boss room, and everything else is kind of just just dumping your ammo out. We went in with 2 Warlocks and then a Stasis Warlock. Warlocks are just so good overall in this game still. It takes a lot to not complete something whenever you're just a team full of Warlocks. And I felt that way going through these GMs.
yeah, it's kind of easy mode, honestly. That's not fair to say. It helps that we've done all these Grandmasters multiple times, but if you want to increase your success percentage by a lot, running 3 Warlocks will help you do that.
It was definitely a lot of fun though, for sure. Running, because I don't think I've ever ran warlock for GMs for us. I've always been stuck on Titan, and we sometimes do a double warlock Titan build. I run it for raids for I think for almost all the master challenges I've been a warlock for our Root of Nightmares at least. Because that extra well is fine. Freezy Boy if we need it, but I've been running just a well lock for that extra damage and extra security. So it's been fun. It's been a nice change of pace.
So Hypernet Current is our first time doing it as a Grandmaster. So a lot of taking. And overall, that wasn't too bad. I think the biggest advice there is whenever you get to the room after you take out the Tormentor is where like you have a bunch of taken blights to take out, and the Minotaurs drop the arc heads to go shoot. Before you go up that lift, you want to make sure everybody has an arc cannon before you go up to go do the Sparrow part. 2 of you will lose it and 1 person keeps it. And when you go up that cannon, you shoot that first blight that you see with the arc cannon, and it takes the rest of them out for your Sparrow right up through the corkscrew. The boss, getting to the boss right before you go up that lift, if you just take that area kind of slow, stick to a couple wells, you have that stasis turrets out there, you have a couple annoying overload hobgoblins up on a ledge that can be kind of difficult. And I think with what we found out there is like when you get the 50% of blights taken out is whenever like the 3 ogres spawn in the middle. So make sure you just prepare for that.
This is probably the easiest GM of the 6, in my opinion. Definitely of the ones that we've played. Outside of like old Lake of Shadows and old Arms Dealer, this is probably the next easiest one. So if it hits on rotation, I feel like this is a really good starter GM this season, especially with the 6 that we have this season. If you're trying to get into the content, this would be the one I recommend the most.
All right, so the 3 we have left is Arms Dealer, Lake of Shadows, and Heist Battlegrounds. I could see Heist in the rotations getting us maybe a round or 2 until we learn that, because for the most part, I've never really cared to know when the waves come, at what health, and what's the rotation there, because you usually just run it at 5 under and you're just spamming everything and melting stuff in normal battlegrounds. Like a Shadows Arms Dealer, there used to be 13, 15 minute GMs, and now they've nearly doubled that. So we're eager to get into those and see how they go.
Can't wait.
Definitely excited. It's even if they double Lake of Shadows length, it's not that bad. I mean, it won't be too bad.
I think
Arms Dealer I'm not looking forward to, and Mars Battleground I'm not looking forward to. But I believe in us. I think we'll do okay.
I'm dreading that boss room in Lake of Shadows.
Yeah.
Because you're literally in a circle.
Yeah.
We'll just watch an SO solo, and you'll find the safe spots.
That's true. He is the man, that's for sure.
So we also completed the last master challenge for Root of Nightmares, which is on Nezarec, called All Hands. And Fox, you streamed that last night, and it seems like the audio was way better, as you mentioned.
Yeah. So got that situated. So I think we got rolling around 9:30 or so. I started the stream up, and I think we were standing around for like 9 or 10 minutes in the encounter before we started. And I know that in the stream, like if you go watch the playback, our completed run started at 3 hours and 11 minutes. So with that, it took us basically, I think that run, what was it, 9 minutes or something like that, I think was what it ended
Yeah.
up being. 9 minutes and like 50 seconds. So you have to play 95% perfect for 10 minutes, everybody, in order to beat that. Now, if your damage is better than ours, which our damage was good, not great, we could almost two-phase, but we wouldn't have had the ammo to do the final stand. So, and we got a little unlucky with like some of the boss like placements. He would like jump up, and then whenever he'd land, he'd be behind like the pillar or something. So, I don't think we could have two-phased with what we were doing on Master. Which, if you can't two-phase on Master, I don't really have any trouble with that, because we were close enough that the final damage wasn't much of an issue. Especially, we had one or two of our ad clears running the Aeon exotic, which so they finished the champions and they were dropping bricks for everybody, which was very helpful. We had Void Burn, or Void Surge rather, so that was helpful. I think we had four wells. Three wells and one state. You were on stasis, weren't you? Yeah, so we had 3 wells and stasis into stasis warlock, and a hunter. What was Zen running? See, he was on a hunter as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Shifty was a hunter, and then 2 hunters with that.
It was 4 well-locks and the stasis warlock.
Yeah. Okay, I thought so. So we have 4 well-locks, a stasis warlock, and a hunter. So that's kind of how it worked out for us. The challenge is that each person has to shoot like one of the seeds on each side, each damage phase. So kind of split into 2 teams of 3. And then at that point, kind of wait for the boss to do his wipe mechanic. You're going to be inside of the light and darkness, the safe spots that you create, and then kind of switch sides, do the last 3, then do damage. The bad part is the boss, his void attack, where it is a void surge, his axe thing that he throws hits really hard, to the point that I was running 60 frames to try to, and I had 3 void resist on, and he was still if at full health, he was redlining me with taking one of those, and I was the person that was kind of taking hatred. So, it was hard for me to get a route down that made me least likely to get hit by his attack. It probably took me an hour just to figure that out. And the other part we had a lot of trouble with was whenever we were running to shoot the final seeds on each side, because they have to be shot within 5 seconds of each other. Whenever we were doing that, the boss really hones in on one of the sides with his homing attack. Whoever has the aura running to that. So we were getting some bad luck there. So with all the wells, we were kind of able to place wells on the path. Now we're kind of safe zones along the way, and then still have a well or 2 for damage phase.
Yeah, this was the closest to day 1 experience we felt outside of like the day, like the content's clear, in my opinion. A little over 3 hours to get this boss down was probably not too far off for how long it took us on contest mode. I can't remember exactly how long the boss took, but it wasn't too far off compared to that. So the frustrating thing with this is sometimes you might get some people that has not connected the dots before shooting the seeds. So it takes like a few runs of people getting the lay, and then the lanes are run. But so like sometimes if you just turn the edge at the wrong time, the boss is spamming you with his homing void. And as Fox mentioned, the hour it took him to get his hatred circuit down, it probably took people a few times to get the route down for connecting the dots too.
Yeah, and the cool part about it, like I said, the whole 3.5 hour thing is up to watch. Like we look just completely like for like an hour, everybody's kind of filling it out, getting used to like the damage and they can take and figuring routes out. And then I kind of switched it up to where since I had hatred, I was taking the first seed on the left side and the sixth seed on the right side. Those are the things that are kind of like I can shoot this one first and then focus on like the shoulder pads and the hatred in order to know where to call the refuge out at. Then after a little bit, we figured out that just to plant the refuges after the first seeds are shot, just plant the refuges initially right on those and just get those out of the way. So just like little things that you learn, a couple little safe spots, and we got a lot of bad luck with the boss, like trying to get the boss kited to the right place to where we could do damage, and then kind of got to where I could do that a little better. If he got turned around, I would kind of try to shoot his chest to pull him over, and got a little lucky there. But it's once you hit the rhythm, like we were consistently making it to like 2 damage phases. But everything just kind of had to line up on that one run just to put us over the top.
Yeah, I think we had maybe twice we got the final stand and didn't have the rockets or missed rockets. People died. Only had like 3 people doing DPS.
Yeah. No, I'd be out of reses because the boss hit you from like 45 meters that you can't even see him. He hit me in a teleport, like 40, like whenever we were doing the 4th, 5th, and 6th seeds, and he'd done his, we got the refuge and he's teleporting back up. He killed me right there, and I think we had 1 res left, and I was like, oh man, like just stupid stuff like that. But it was it's kind of fun. It obviously wouldn't take us 3 hours again if we went in there. I feel like we could probably do it in under an hour if we went back in there now. But the same people. It also helped that this was the same people that we did contest mode with. We had all 6 of us, so that was pretty beneficial as well.
I would definitely recommend on normal mode running everybody through a phase of just connecting the dots on their own, so they can see the dots on their side and on both sides, and they can get the mechanics down and really figure out how it works. If you guys haven't already done it on the second encounter or the first encounter, because you can do it on the first encounter too, but doing it on the boss on normal will kind of cement where the locations are and how they move around. Obviously, I've had a lot of practice on it. Jared's had a lot of practice on it. Shifty as well. Zen and Ryan were next in that. Ryan had 1 run through and figured it out because we did a couple of tries before we beat the boss on that one with Ryan doing it, and then Zen, and then we had one guy that hadn't done it at all. So it took a couple of go arounds of us not dying for him to really go, okay, this is how it really works. But if you go in there with everybody knowing what's going on, the only thing that's gonna be really happening is mess ups and those stupid hammer swings. I would routinely turn around from shooting a seed and just slow-mo watch Ryan blowing up out of nowhere. I'm like, he's on the other side of the map, and I just hear Ryan just start yelling. Or I hear Jared laughing. I would just hear Jared start laughing, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I know what got either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's funny watching that back. I was watching it back last night, and I'm on there, and at one point I'm just laughing like a maniac that's been doing the same thing for the last 3 hours unsuccessfully. And so it all worked out though. We got the challenge done. One of us got the exotic to drop. It was me. Finally, I finally earned it. So, it's about, as LeBron James would say, it's about damn time. So, had a lot of fun. That gun is rad, for sure. But, yeah, so still don't have all the armor. You know, I've only ran it 3 times a week, every week.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep getting the same armor that I already have. I don't even get guns really. So I think I've got the trace rifle to drop exactly one time, except for the one we got for challenge mode 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So Chad and I haven't done the first encounter on challenge mode. Jared, you have. Out of the four the four encounters with the challenges, which one is the most difficult? Which one is the most aggravating? Which one is the easiest? And which one will you never do again?
So the easiest is easily the first encounter. I LFG'd it with people like usually you can join LFGs and like 3 or 4 of the people are just like looking for a couple more. No, this is just 6 randoms together, and we did it on our second try. So
Okay.
the one that is the most difficult to do, man, the next 3 are right there. I would say the one I would never do again is probably going to be Nezarec and the all hands, because it's just like
Okay.
you depend on all 6 players like have to know what they're doing and be pretty efficient.
Even on normal, you would never do that one?
Oh, I guess on normal maybe, but what? I guess just get the extra drop.
Right.
Yeah,
Or if somebody just needs the challenge or something, like a
Yeah.
triumph.
yeah. On
Depends
normal,
on depends on who they are.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Most frustrating, I think. I was really frustrated with the planets, and I forget the name of that challenge, but I just felt super. That was one of the more frustrating nights for me, of trying to do the challenges. I forget the other category, but whatever's left over. Encounter 2. Encounter 2 is just annoying. It's just
Yeah, the most annoying was actually
Yeah.
the other one.
yeah. Encounter 2. If they made an Encounter 2 challenge where you could still grapple or short skate across, then yeah, I would have been fun. But not what they did.
Chad, which are you least likely to want to do again? And which did you enjoy the most out of the 3?
I didn't enjoy any of them. And I would definitely
So
not do the
lame.
boss again. For the main the we got lucky that we're running it with our contest mode crew. I find that, and I'm not basing this off of my own LFG luck, but if you play a raid with someone that does not want to do mechanics, this challenge will be impossible. Simply because that person isn't going to want to pay attention, isn't going to want to try to do it. We got lucky with the squad that we have, and we do have some alts that are able to pick up the slack and actually do it. But I have played raids where people are like, I'm only an ad clear guy. I only do ad clear. And it's like, bro, it's not that hard. You shoot a thing after someone else does it, and then you're done. Like that's it. But like at least planets, you could have 2 ad clear guys. You could have 2 dedicated ad clear guys. But not on the boss. On the boss, everybody needs to do a thing. Not that planets was much better, but at least there were 2 people that you could kind of drag along, as long as they're really good at killing stuff.
Right. So myself, I thought the boss was most annoying simply because like his attacks are just lame, and like capping your frames, like having to cap my frames at 60. You know, I didn't spend $1,000 on a graphics card to cap my frames at 60. And then also had to do that on the second encounter. But I thought the second encounter was more fun than the boss encounter. I started to get a little frustrated last night. Only had like 3 outbursts of just cursing that I remember. So that's not too bad. The second the planets encounter I liked because I thought it was a fair difficulty, but we just needed to get a good run going through. So I would say the second encounter was the most fun. The fourth encounter was the most frustrating. And the third encounter was probably the best the best one, just because the encounter's fun, which I think brings it up, like ups the challenge. It was kind of stupid because you're doing it inefficiently, so it was dumb in that respect, but it was fun. Just the rhythm of that fight I enjoy. So
Yeah, encounter 2 I could probably do again because I think I'll have to do it one more time to get the 6th weapon. So encounter 1 and encounter 2 definitely will play those weeks if people want to do it. All right, so that's...
shout out to Greg. Shout out to Greg in the comments, by the way. I just saw that. Sorry, Greg.
All right, next up is 3 likes and 3 dislikes. My like this week is going to be getting I forgot the name of them, but the Vanguard ciphers. Is that what they are? Where you can focus a depth weapon.
I'd say Nightfall ciphers or something. Maybe.
Yeah, Nightfall ciphers. Those added to the game makes a lot of sense because these last 2 weapons that's been dropping, Hung Jury and then Malicious Birthright, I don't care about those weapons at all. You know how they absolute neutered Mindbenders. It's just not worth it. And Hung Jury, I mean, it's a 180 scout. You got one, you got them all. So
it's a real shame because Hung Jury was a heck of a weapon back in the day, and it was a dead orbit weapon. They always had the God roll for sale, isn't that right, Chad?
Yeah.
Do you remember I remember that being a big thing. On people would come in that were new to the game, and they're like, "Oh my God, Dead Orbit has a God roll scout rifle available." And then you could tell like who were the new guys. My like is that finally conditional finality. So I have the gun. I've used it for all of 20 minutes, and it rocks. It absolutely rules. It is a sweet exotic. I've already been dreaming of kind of what the caddy might do whenever it comes out. I wish that they would have put like a catalyst in the raid like they've done for some of the other ones, like a raid run. Like it'd be cool if it was like a start to finish master clear. It'll never be this. Like a start to finish master clear in under 4 hours. Like you can't go to orbit, you can't break. Like
oh my God,
4 hours. 4 hours wouldn't be bad for a master clear. It wouldn't be bad.
Explode.
It would. You're exactly. That's why I said they would never do it. But I think that would be cool, and I would enjoy that. And don't you think it would be fun now that we all 6 of us have it from the group? We get together. We're like, hey, we got 4 hours, and we load in and go through it. I think that would be a fun challenge.
Yeah, I understand. It would be fun doing that. I think it'd also be fun if like everybody had to use it in every encounter, but people just swap over to it at the end of the encounter. So
no way, people wouldn't do that.
All right, and then my like for this week is actually 2 different ones, but the first one being they haven't said anything about it, but Guardian Games is coming. The API has stuff on it, so we're starting to get. We got. It was funny too because Ryan's like, "What's this thing I just got in our Proving Grounds run?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, the Guardian Games medals are active actually right now." So we got a new weapon coming, and I've seen that it's a Strand Amalon Scout, so that's neat. Got some interesting roles, if not great, and if not good, but still fun. But that's happening. And then the Mega Man Battle Network came out a couple days ago, and I totally just remembered it this morning. I'm like, heck yeah, baby! So I got something to do later tonight. But yeah. Games, multiple kinds of games is coming, and I'm excited to have stuff to do. Now my dislike is that I'm, according to Jared, quote unquote, not a grandmaster.
So, I think you're the maester.
Yeah, which is fine.
Be careful with that.
I'm
real
right
careful
there.
with that one.
I'm right there on grandmaster status. So I just need some commendations. Don't give me breast stress, please.
No.
But yeah.
No, the maesters
Listen,
know
I
everything.
bet. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about like a maester, like a Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I thought you were like a master. Like that's what I thought you said.
Okay.
So that's why I said
Okay.
be careful with that one.
Okay.
My dislike definitely is the way that frames affect damage on this game. Or like it affects your flight pattern. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's lame. And it makes me really wish there was a Destiny 3 that had just completely different code, and we weren't still running off of console code that was rigged together to work on PC.
So I'm pretty sure, according to a couple of Bungie's like job postings, there's like 2 other games going to be made with Tiger Engine.
Yep, and can we discuss those? Is that spoilery, like what they are?
No, because they've already they announced the IP, the copyright names, right?
All right, so Matter is the game that is one.
Yeah.
And then the other one is
Marathon.
the Marathon reboot. That's the Extraction, like the Tarkov type game.
Yeah.
Man, could you imagine them having a Tarkov like game to where frames affects how much damage you take, like as hardcore as those games are?
Yeah.
Like that's not going to go well. It's not going to go well at all. So they're going to have to figure that out, man, because there's no reason I should take more damage from like a Colossus or something just because I'm running 165 frames instead of 60.
Yeah, I think it just matters how they code the damage coming at you. I think they can learn from that. Like whenever something hits you, like it doesn't explode like multiple times based on your frames. It would just explode once in that one time HP. So I think they can do it. I think they can make the adjustment. I have faith for now for a new game that they would make it that way.
They got that Sony money now, dog. Come on.
Yeah.
That now what I have seen and heard, I do listen to a lot of, believe it or not, I don't listen to any other Destiny podcast, but I listen to a lot of video game podcasts, even though I don't really play different video games anymore. So Sony is using, they purchased Bungie, and what they're using them for is kind of to be the help / the gurus, because Sony's trying to come out with their own live service and their own shooter games that are exclusive. They just signed a new studio. They just announced it today, actually. That is like a company that is making a AAA PlayStation and PC game that's a shooter. And they have The Last of Us multiplayer game that I guess Bungie has been helping give direction and helping them more. So I think they're being used as kind of like the godfathers over there, right? Like the resource. So I'm hoping that doesn't take away from the game that we play, that they're too busy helping with all the other games. So kind of worried about that, but they're big enough of a company, it shouldn't.
You think about it. So like even wherever you work at now, there's some higher ups that you're like, they can't be that busy, and they just kind of oversee the infrastructure of what's going on, and they can easily oversee an infrastructure or two of something else, Um, yeah. So dislikes. This has been just a normal week. You know, this is the tail end of Masters Week. This is the Masters Week hangover week where you still got some good stuff going on if you didn't complete GMs and trying to get up to rank 11. My dislike is people coming into Discord whenever you're trying to communicate on a master raid and just like say that they did whatever and you're just trying to communicate call outs and people just jump in a Discord call.
And then you have to tell them to kindly leave. That's what you have to do. That's kind of a little inside baseball reference. Watch our master run video in our final run, the one that starts at 3 hours and 11 minutes. You can actually witness that happen. Did you guys realize that was the run that we beat it in?
Yeah.
Was that run he came in?
I think Jared and I must have been angry enough that we were like, okay, we have to just beat it right now. But
yeah,
I saw him join and he was quiet for a bit and I'm like, hopefully he just sits there and waits for us to beat it or like waits for us to start just like winding down or doing nothing because we were making calls and I'm like, you're not saying anything and that's fine. But it's like if you're listening and you're hearing what's happening, I would have dipped out and been like, nope, they're busy right now. That one, they're busy.
Yeah. So we actually were doing...
holy moly, we were stressed.
That's the only time I've ever heard Chad even just be like, not subject, like he could be taken as being rude. Chad is one of like the legit nicest people, and the fact that he was the one, we were all thinking like, please don't talk, please don't talk, please don't talk, and the Chad was the one that called it out. So you could have got pretty good odds on that, I feel. Jared, did we have any weapons this week?
No, all the weapons suck this season.
Let's,
all right.
Hey, can we do let's do like 2 minutes right here.
Okay.
Worst collection of raid weapons in Destiny history in this raid?
Since the nerf to linear fusion rifles and grenade launchers really are not that great yet, and the shotgun's just kind of like the legendary shotgun. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I think this is literally to appease everybody that said we haven't had a raid sidearm or a raid auto rifle in this long. And then there's like, okay, fine, here you go. You know why? Nobody wants them.
Yeah. And the worst part is like we have 4 strand weapons, primary weapons. It's hand cannon. That are legendary.
Round robin.
Sidearm.
Mm-hmm.
Or not sidearm, hand cannon, SMG.
You have 2 SMGs.
And then the raid sidearm. And then
we have 2 SMGs. We have 2
SMGs and 2 auto rifles. It's like, bro.
Yeah.
The raid weapon should be unique for at least a season. At least a season. At least give me a season. I mean, when it's weird ones like the trace rifle, it can't really be unique there. But like 3 burst linear solar fusion, we needed that. We needed that to fill in the space. Linears aren't great right now, but you know, it fills in the gap. The raid shotgun can have fun perks, but it's not good. The grenade launcher could be good eventually, hopefully. You know, as long as you get the perk set, you're like, okay, this eventually, if it gets fixed, will be good. Cool. But yeah, no. The only thing that's been exciting that I've seen many people talking about is the auto rifle because it does feel nice, and that's it. And then maybe the trace rifle. But
so I just did a strand search in my dim here. So we have the final warning, which is the exotic sidearm. That's not even from the raid. We have Rufus Fury, which is the auto rifle. The Immortal, which was the Trials submachine gun. It's just 750. And then you have the 600 precision that comes from the Terminal Overload Synchronic Roulette. And then Quicksilver Storm, the exotic. And then from the raid, you have Caraxis's Distress. And then you have the Round Robin that Chad mentioned, and Circular Logic, the machine gun. So
There's also a strand auto rifle from like this season. So like they doubled up on strand auto rifles.
oh yep, that's right. It comes from the war table, right?
Yeah.
I have the pattern, but I don't have the weapon on me.
Yeah.
Perpetualis, I believe is the name of it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm glad we agree because and like, how do we not have like a sniper in a raid? How do we not have a raid sniper?
Man, a sniper with the raid aesthetic from this season would have been fire, bro. It would have
Yeah.
been so cool.
You
And
know,
they should have
all
done
right.
strand fusion, like fusion rifle. It would have looked super dope. Because that's how they introduced stasis fusions, was in Val.
Deliverance, is that the name of
Yeah.
it? All right, gambling corner. So, gambling corner is our segment to where we all start off with 10,000 glimmer at the start of the season. We make bets every week pretty much every week on the show. And if you ever become bankrupt, then you have to offer up a weapon out of your vault as a sacrifice to buy back in. The other two people that are not bankrupt determine how much that weapon is worth in glimmer. We pretty much determined that like it would have to be like a discontinued weapon with the absolute 5 out of 5 god roll to even get to like 8,000, 9,000, or 10,000. We've only had bankruptcy happen twice, maybe once. It doesn't happen a whole lot. Usually people get close and then kind of rally. Jared, I remember he gave up a give up a sniper, Praetus Revenge maybe one time or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So saying that, current standings, Chad and Jared are tied for second with 6,000 glimmer apiece, and I started with 14,000 glimmer. So the plan was, so we kind of have two bets out. The first was the first to get the best dressed commendation loses. I don't remember how do we have that paid out? Do you guys remember? Was it like 1,000 or 2,000
it
a
was
piece?
just a straight up bonus for the last one standing.
Okay. Okay. Yep, that's what it was. Sorry about that. So we had that kind of going on in the background. The other was the least deaths among the cleared GrandMaster nightfalls before the next podcast. So from Thursday to Thursday, however many nightfalls we got completed, which was 2 that we discussed earlier. The least amount of deaths, everybody threw in 2,000. So with that, I know that I put them in. Are those updated correctly?
Yeah.
Okay. So Jared had 4 deaths. I had 4 deaths. Chad had 2 deaths. So Chad was the winner. So Jared and I each lose 2K. Chad gains 4K. So that puts Jared at 4,000, me at 12,000, and Chad at 10,000. So Chad battled back. Chad was on the verge of losing, and then he started getting a little mouthy about, I didn't agree to delete any weapons. So I was kind of hoping that he would. I was kind of hoping he would battle back. Chad doesn't like to play along. I don't have good RNG. I only get the raid exotics before everybody now. So
Get out of here.
So saying that, we still have the best dressed commendation thing going. Did any of you have any news to share about the best dressed commendation?
I haven't played any matchmaking.
Yeah.
I played 4 games of Crucible. I didn't get it.
So the scary part about that is last week I was running Nightfalls because I'm still trying to get like a good hothead. So it's kind of scary going in there. I'm probably gonna have to just not do it at this point until somebody loses. So I know Chad won't be able to keep himself out of there. So I just have to hold out long enough for Chad to lose this. So we still have 3 GMs left. I imagine we'll get at least 2, if not all 3 of those done probably before the next podcast. So I say we do the same bet again, at least deaths among clear GMs before the next pod. Everybody antes 2K. You guys good with that?
Yep.
Sure.
Anything else you guys want to add, take away, modify?
No, it's a pretty straight, just put it in the pot and see what comes out. But when it comes to play styles, I'm definitely the more aggressive of the 3 of us, and it is what it is.
Yeah, some of us play like a coward. So, saying that, I believe that gets us to the war section.
He says about the coward, I guess. But we're gonna finish off the raid stuff with the raid exotic lore. Now that it's all out because the master challenge was fully finished, so you were able to unlock the ship and the sparrow had you done all the challenges so far. So now that's yeah, that is correct. The GrandMaster has that done. So we'll get through those, and also by popular request from Mr. NotRyanFox himself, we're going to talk about the lore from the ship as well, holiday ship. So we're going to start off with the sparrow from the raid. Michael was sweating. I noticed it when I woke him from a deep slumber the night of his 18th birthday. It was late, almost the time of nightmares, and tonight I would pull back the curtain. The leather-bound tome I dropped on the table made him jump. I could tell by the way he blinked up at me under the basement's singular light that he was lost, confused and afraid. I smiled. Nightmares are not to be feared. My hands ran over the ornate shapes on the tome's cover, the symbols of an ancient being, and I slowly opened the latches. The book appeared to breathe. He has haunted slumbers long before the Golden Age, and with every new generation, he tests our worthiness, our loyalty. I flipped to a page filled with an image corner to corner, weighted by layers of charcoal and blood. A lock of hair was sewn into the tome's gutter. The text on the next page was also shimmered crimson. Tonight, you will carry on our legacy. Before Michael could muster the breath to argue or ask questions, the sound of rattling chains filled the room. Michael turned and peered into the darkness at the back of the room. The soft chitters of an elixir I'd captured earlier that day joined the metal chorus as it tugged at its restraints. I led him forward and lit the sconces on the wall, revealing the prisoner in question. Michael looked up at me, eyes wide and tearful. Extract its fear, I instructed. Moving on to the ship. That does not belong to you. A woman's voice cut through the air and traveled to Drifter's ears at the center of the room. The altar he'd been searching for stood before him, adorned with hallowed objects. Many were of elixir origin, much like the tomb itself. An ornate container rested on a lavish cloth surrounded by unlit candles. Sounds he couldn't quite discern filled the silence of the room. I hate to break it to you, sister, he said. You and your acolyte buddies will have to pass on this one. The candles lit spontaneously and Drifter felt the hair on his neck stand. The fire's warmth danced far enough for him to spot a simple, robed-like garment that kept the woman's face hidden. It shifted as she stepped closer. Drifter unholstered the handgun at his side. She did the same. The low noise escalated to whispers, more prominent, almost excited. My father searched for this piece for a long time. I won't let you stand in my way, she said, words laced with ferocity. Drifter's grip tightened. If he'd been anyone else, her intimidation might have worked. Well, I'm not letting you stand between me and a big payday, he responded. It looks like we're at an impasse. The whispers danced in his psyche. Drifter took a shot. The sound disrupted everything in the room and blew the candles out. The muzzle flash revealed shadows with long claws reaching for him as he scooped up the container from the cloth. The woman fired back, but Drifter was already gone. Sprinting through the depths of the tomb with the shadows at his heels, he ran until smell of death gave way to fresh air, and the shadows halted their pursuit. His fee was about to quadruple. And the shotgun. The sound that escaped me resembled a roar, a psychic echo. It soared through the air and pierced every corner of my ship. Anger coursed through me as I toppled the ground in a heap. I wheezed with each breath and clutched at my chest. I watched the witch saunter out like she'd won. My ship rumbled as she wrested her primordial prize from it. I felt hatred, deep, unchallenged hatred. My claws punctured the floor, etched new patterns into it. I dragged myself forward. Whispers danced around me. Trillions of voices melded together in my favorite symphony. I had always welcomed death, and this time would be no different. An agonizing sensation shot through me. It was as if an arrow had bored its way through my chest. It burned, and I collapsed among the rubble. A green hue enveloped me. I was unfamiliar with this. Her magic festering within me, shackling me. My body twisted, my breaths grew thin, my limbs became heavy, torturous. No, she could not hold me. I would not allow it. This would not be my end. My witness. I whispered as the void I once commanded claimed me. And now the Brazen Spark holiday ship. Zavala glanced past the flight instructor to the clock on the wall. He was becoming impatient, but meetings like this could not be rushed. After which she called me a bent grape, the disgruntled teacher concluded. Is that bad? Zavala inquired. It sure ain't good, a teenage Amanda Holiday piped up. She was slouched in her chair next to Zavala, her lank hair hanging over her eyes. You see? The flight instructor stood, his face turning red. This young lady's disrespectful attitude is a danger to herself, her teammates, and her aircraft. Amanda rolled her eyes. Zavala frowned at his young charge. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. It will be dealt with. The flight instructor shook the commander's hand. I hope so. Amanda shows a lot of potential. I'd hate to see it wasted. After they had been dismissed, Zavala walked with Amanda across the hangar bay. He gestured to a Hawk airship. Do you know how those ships are made? He asked. The sullen teenager shrugged, her eyes downcast. It takes a lot of people, Zavala continued. Scrappers risk falling attacks in the Cosmodrome to find the metals. Machinists get burned. They lose fingers forging the parts. Mechanics throw their backs in to keep them running. Yeah, so? Amanda scoffed. When you talk back to your instructors, Zavala replied, or think you're better than their lessons, you're not disrespecting them. You're disrespecting all the people that built those ships, and you make yourself unworthy of their sacrifices. One day you'll be a pilot, the commander stated with certainty, and you had better hope that all those people gave the same respect to their jobs that you owe yours. Though she didn't raise her eyes, Amanda nodded sheepishly, because otherwise, Zavala concluded, you'll never get off the ground. Wow, I didn't know that. I think I remember hearing it initially, but it definitely hits different remembering that Zavala was in charge of Amanda as like a little one. So I think definitely after that one, we're going to be going into the Amanda lore book starting next week. I think it's big enough to be 2 separate weeks, but we'll get started on that so we can get more Amanda lore into this.
Wait, are we getting Mandalore lore? Oh, great. I love that.
Yeah.
Great season ending just happened this week, by the way. All right, time for the mailbag.
Yo, baby Yoda.
No, how dare you even speak that? All right, rank the raid exotics as a group. So we got 10 of them here. We got 1,000 Voices, Divinity, Vex Mythoclass, Eyes of Tomorrow, Touch of Malice, Occluded Finality, Anarchy, Collective Obligation, Teroba, and Legend of Acreus. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the worst. What one do we think is the worst? Is it Touch of Malice?
So here's the thing. Are we doing this as overall, as PvP focused or PvE focused, or
like what's this purpose? Like
general usefulness?
Yeah, usefulness in the game. Because what's the point of having it if you're like use? It's gotta be useful.
Touch of Malice has 0 encounters. No, there's not a single encounter that it's the metaphor. As somebody that just did the master version of that raid, there's nothing that like, if I would have had Touch of Malice, it would have made it way easier. Now in D1, it was that way, just because damage wasn't like it is now. So, but I am totally on board with Touch of Malice being at the very bottom.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Second from the worst. Then I think this is where I have to start making some decisions. I'm probably torn between Legend of Acarius and Eyes of Tomorrow.
I was thinking Eyes of Tomorrow. It's only good in Gambit. And I think, if I recall, it maybe even got nerfed in Gambit. Like they nerfed like the tracking or something on it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember.
They gave it some kind of big buff this season, and I have seen 0 people use it. It's like you get like so many kills with a volley, and then you reload, and then your next volley does like 50% extra damage or something. But they try to make a rocket into ag clear. So
Sheesh.
I'm
That's
good
like
with
getting chain reaction on a rocket. And I get that.
Yeah,
It makes me want to just...
That kind of
keep my
effect
head
is
off the
better
wall.
off on like Wardcliff that shoots out like 10 shots. Like that would be really good on a Wardcliff, because if you just shot that into a room of stuff and then all of a sudden your next shot just lays into stuff, like it'd be fun. More like, but yeah.
Talking about the damage stack part, right?
Yeah,
like killing
clearing
ads and
multiple
then-
targets. Your next
Yeah,
round
yeah.
yeah. See, that would be fun on a
Yeah.
Wardcliff. But okay. Yeah, I was definitely in a fight between Eyes and Acarius. As no matter how much I love Acarius, it's just it was only really good in like a couple of spots, and one of those spots is Sunset.
And those spots, man, it was so good. It's so good. They just set up stupid damage.
Still good for Deep Stone Crypt burst encounter to shoot those fuel rods.
Yeah, to shoot the...
Hell yeah. I'm glad that I brought that along, baby.
All right, so that's going to be number 8 then, as Legend.
This is where things are going to start getting interesting, because I hate this gun, and I think you guys like it, but Collective Obligation is my next one.
Oh no,
it's so good.
Told you guys. I told you guys. I don't know if I'm too dumb to use it, but that gun I think is
don't play
trash.
on Void as a Warlock is the problem. Like on Titan, like Void Titan with that thing, woo, it's a ton of fun.
and
You personally don't play Void Walk enough.
I'm not putting that gun super high. So you guys figure out where you want it.
well,
But I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go top 3.
okay,
I will not let it go top 3.
At least Terraba's on the board for number 7.
Teraba is very good in PvP.
Not anymore.
I don't play PvP.
Not anymore.
They nerfed it.
It got hit. The amount you get back from getting hit now, it got
Okay.
thirded.
I'm fine with Teraba. I agree that Collective is better than Teraba.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So I guess then it's between.
So what do we have left? All
All right, we got 1K, Divinity, Vex, Occluded Finality, Anarchy, and Collective Obligation. So I think the decision is probably between Vex Mythoclast and Collective Obligation.
I think Vex is better. I much prefer Vex over Collective Obligation. I will say, if you guys disagree, I'm fine with it being above Vex, but I don't think it should go higher.
Okay, Chad, I think Vex should be 6.
I agree.
All right.
And I agree with Ryan. It shouldn't go much higher than that.
So-
Even no matter how much I like it currently, it still doesn't beat the next couple.
So Collective Obligation would be number 5 then.
Okay.
Okay. So just to recount, Collective Obligation 5, Vex Mythoclast 6, Teraba 7, Legend of Acarius 8, 9 is Eyes, and then 10 is Touch of Malice.
I think that's it. I think we got a solid list so far.
Okay. All right. Um, this next one is probably going to be the funnest drop I've ever had in my life on Destiny, and that's 1,000 voices. I think it's probably it's number 4 for me.
So it would be between.
How many of those?
Yeah, he was at a 50% drop rate on that damn gun for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. So in my opinion, we're between, and this is with kind of our current meta that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We are kind of between 1K and Anarchy are kind of the ones we're looking at here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I personally think Anarchy is slightly better than 1K. And those would be my next, like the next two up the ladder.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. I think that's what it has to be. Because these last two, are in a tier of their own.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would definitely have to agree there.
So we have the last two. We have our Divinity and Conditional Finality. Correct?
Yes.
So I think this is a preference thing. I've been in a lot of groups where we really needed Divinity. It's really put us over the top. Especially like certain bosses and things like that. And I'm not the greatest judge of this. I just got the gun last night for Conditional Finality. But those 20 minutes were really fun. And it's a gun that is useful in pretty much every area of the game.
Yeah.
I think Divinity, for the sake of in-game content, Divinity should be slightly above Conditional Finality.
Yes, because
But
like,
I'm open to hearing.
I mean, think about doing some of these raid bosses without Divinity. Like, they're usually made around people having Divinity. Like Deep Stone Crit boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be as bad as doing Reckoning when they made the changes. Just not fun. That bridge section on Reckoning, once they changed up how Wells acted, how ogres reacted to Wells and stuff. Oof. Just not fun. Hard.
Yeah.
Hard because you literally, the thing that they built the encounter around disappeared. So it's yeah.
So I will say what we have to consider for this final part. We only play the hard stuff. Like for everything that's not a raid, for like if you're not doing a raid boss, why would you use Divinity ever?
If you're just a really bad overload season.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I think this is a 1A, 1B situation.
Yeah.
But we have to have a winner. As the person that is usually the Divinity guy, my vote's for Divinity. I'm not gonna be upset if you guys both vote for the other.
What you got, Chad?
I mean, I like that Divinity debuff. It's always good. But the auto freeze on that shotgun is so dope. They're so in line with each other. But it's, again, like Ryan said, we play the hard stuff, and that's when Divinity really shines. If I were to just play a bunch of back-to-back-to-back Nightfalls that had Unstoppable and Overload, and it was a matchmaking, and I was just doing it to grind rep, I'm running with the shotgun. As just a general, like, what I would rather use would be the shotgun. Personally. It's more fun for me. But I think Divinity's better. I think the shotgun's more fun. And I think it's only by like the slightest margin, just because of what it is.
Divinity has had the belt since Garden of Salvation came out, and it still has the belt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Good job, guys. That was a great question. Great question. I like that one. Question 2. Is this the worst seasonal story? So I just completed the final mission before like this podcast, before we like all logged on or whatever. I don't think it's the worst, but I think it sucks. That's kind of
Yeah.
It's
so
not the worst, but
I think
hate
it sucks. Yeah, it's not the worst. Black Armory is definitely the worst. But this sucked. This seasonal story sucked. Thank God. And like we always say, if you're gonna have one that sucks, put it out with the expansion, because there's all the other stuff going on. So I do not care that the weakest story of the 4 seasons is the first one. I actually prefer that myself. So that's my take.
Season of the Hunt with those Wrathborn hunts. It just
Oh,
that one sucked too.
Awful.
That's worse than this one.
But, yeah, no, way worse. At least this one, it was very condensed, so you could like do the weekly stuff like 20 minutes in and out, be in and out of there and done. So it wasn't as bad. The Season of the Hunt, where it's like, okay, now you're going over here, now you're doing this, now you're grabbing some of that, you're killing these kinds of enemies. Okay, now you got to slot this stuff into this thing. It's like, bro, I don't want to do that. Just give me a key and make me go kill stuff in this playlist, and then I can be done for the week. Just don't.
Hey,
So I am glad.
But props to
what I will
Bungie
say
for killing off a character. I like that. I like losing people. We should lose more people in this game.
We only have 7 more seasons after this one, so people are got to start dying sometime. So, what I will say that I really am thankful for, they were not stingy with those Defiant engrams, because that could have been bad.
Yeah.
But it seems like every time I go to the war table once a week or so, I'll have like 26 to 35 of those things sitting there just to focus. And I like that, because then I can work on my Leviathan weapons, or get those swords and the Imperial Decree, get that stuff rolling. So it's not the worst, but it sucks. Question 3. What would it take for you to delete a character? Not the weapons or the armor. So you're not like deleting, like having to do the level grind all over. Just the actual character. Part 2 of the question is, how much would you pay for a character redesign token? So I assume changing it from it's not male or female anymore. Masculine and feminine, I think, is the terminology that's used. So if you were a masculine human, you could go to a feminine awoken or something, and then change your hairstyle. Blah blah blah. How much would you pay for that in silver?
Ooh, in silver.
So the biggest thing about deleting the character is redoing the subclass stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it. I did it in Destiny 1 a few times to try to get like which still sucked. You had to go through the subclass. I think I did it one time, and I was like, nope, never again, because I really wanted like the vault armor. And that gave you could pretty much run through the story in like 5 hours, have your subclass almost all the way done, and then have another run at the raid. So it wasn't too bad to do back then, but at this point, not deleting any characters. I think it would have to be like they would have to come offer me like some amount of cash to get me to delete a character.
Fair.
That's a good question. How much cash would it take for you to delete a character? Bungie shows up on your door. They have a briefcase. How much has to be in that briefcase for you to delete your character? You have to do all the quests and the storylines, all those expansions. You have to redo all of that.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be like $500. I'd delete and redo it.
Nah, there's so much. I don't know if it'd be tied to triumphs now, but there's so many like little things that happen in game that are tied to your characters. Little things that are said, little stupid little stuff that happens, voice lines that are activated by characters. Um, I the Lord junkie in me wouldn't let me do it. I couldn't do it.
Just one character out of
I
the
think it-
three.
I'm.
I think it'd have
it's a
to be more than
completionist thing. I
500.
can't do it.
It'd have to be more than 500.
I would pay $5 to redesign a character though. I'd pay $5, 500 silver.
I'll pay 10.
I don't care about it, but I bet a lot of people would pay $19.99.
Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't do it if it was free. I would probably take the war paint off of my hunter's face that's on there, but I don't care enough to even spend $5 to do that. For whatever reason, I thought it was a great idea to give him blue hair and like 3 blue stripes that come over his eye, and then come at an angle to the cheek.
Nice.
I would, if it was free, I would remove the war paint, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't.
You can always.
do it.
It's fun to see because you can always tell who the people that played D1 are because they will never ever have their helmet off.
Yeah,
Ever.
you're right. You're right. You're right. The helmet's on. The helmet stays on.
The helmet stays on.
Question 4: how much silver have you spent this season? I started with 800. I still have 800. I have not spent a single dollar. I mean, I spent money. Obviously have silver in the bank. I did that at the end of last season, expecting there to be something super cool when the season launched. Haven't bought a single thing this season with silver.
I bought the warm husk crown ornament. It's like blacked out with like a green eye in the center. I thought it was pretty cool. I think it was like 600 silver.
Nothing. I haven't spent a dime yet. All the stuff that I saw that I thought was cool is bright dust if I wait long enough, and I'm like, I'm cool. I'm good.
Bungie, you're slacking. I'm a sucker for silver. If you haven't sold it to me, then their silver spendage has to be down this season. This is the last question before the weekly riddle. This question is from Greg. I've been thinking about coming back to Destiny, but after reading Reddit and some other places, I've gathered that everything is so tanky now, even from the lowliest red bar and up, that unless you are the sweatiest of the sweaty, it's basically unfun. That makes a guy like me that is already years behind just have absolutely zero interest in returning in any way. So I used to play with Greg a lot. Greg's a good buddy of mine. He was actually at my wedding. So saying that, I know that Greg played all of D1, played a lot of D2, like whenever it initially came out. But I think he played a little bit I think he played Forsaken. I feel like he and I played through Forsaken together, but he kind of fell off after the initial expansion of Forsaken. So saying that, my advice is Reddit will give you some idea of what's going on, but everybody there is a little dramatic. The red bar stuff being tanky, that's just on the new planet. The stuff that you should actually think sucks is how much stuff is tied behind different expansions and things like that. That's the biggest issue I have, is there's not a good way to be able to play content, because like if you got on and me and you were just broing out, like, hey, let's run this, and then like, oh, you don't have this expansion, and then like, oh, you should really get this exotic, oh, you need this other expansion. So there's not this game should be free to play for everything except the last 2 expansions. The most current expansion should cost whatever it costs. The expansion before it should cost half price and go on sale once a month for like $10 or something, and everything else should be free. That's how I feel this game should be, but it's not how it is. So that's the real frustrating things. Weapon wise, dude, there are probably 80 good weapons in this game that if you get a decent roll on, you're going to be fine. So like not doing damage, that stuff. And they've made things, even though red bars are tankier, the game as a whole is easier. Like nothing is as hard as you and I going through Vault of Glass or like the Crota stuff like early on. And nothing is as difficult as that. So the game is harder in one section, but easier in every other way.
Even if you come back to this as a free-to-play player, I've been playing with some people that don't play a lot of Destiny and just come back and do some of the free raids, and they've enjoyed it. So Vault of Glass and Kingsfall, like, if you go through and get the weapons from that raid, you're kind of set. Like, there's not much else to go get. Reddit can be a place where people just farming up their vote score, karma score, or whatever. That's mainly what they want to do there. This game's a lot of fun, especially if you haven't played in a while. It's good to come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's always going to be stuff like this, especially if you go to the saltiest place on the internet. It's just going to happen. But yeah, I mean, try the free to play stuff. If it looks like fun, if you're playing with your homies and you're playing the free stuff and you really get into it, then go for it. You know, if you're playing it consistently, especially a game like this, if you're on like 3 or 4 nights a week with your homies and you're like, you know what, like I want to play this stuff with you guys because you guys keep telling me about it and I want to play it with you guys. It's like, all right, do it. But if you're not, if you try the free stuff and you're like, you know what, I'm not really liking the Crucible right now, not because I don't have weapons, I'm not liking it. I'm not liking this. Strikes are too hard, blah, 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 blah. Then, you know, just wait another season or 2 and give it another shot, you know? But always give it a try. And if you don't like it, that's fine. It's fine not to like things.
Yeah. So the other thing, if you are a big PvP player, Crucible's not in a great spot. Gambit was Gambit's DOA. PvE is really good right now, though, in my opinion. Last question. This is the riddle. I know the answer to this. I'll let you guys see if you can get it. What has 13 hearts but no other organs?
You got to guess, Jared?
Yeah. You got it.
Is that a deck of cards?
Boom. That's got it. That's an easy one.
Yeah,
with that, this is the end of the show. I'm going to try to do some more streaming whenever I play on the YouTube channel. I've got everything kind of set up, ready to roll now. So if we're doing something fun, I'll definitely stream that. If I'm just like grinding patrols out or something, we'll see if I stream that. It's probably unlikely. But remember, follow us on Twitter at DestinyCCPod. I'm going to let these other guys sign off.
GrandMaster's raids. I'll do any of that. Dungeons going to be coming back around. So hit us up if you want to play.
Yeah, definitely hit us up. GMs this season are a couple of tough ones. And like Ryan said earlier, Hypernet Current, even though it's new, isn't super bad. So it's a fun one to run some new people. It's going to be a good one to run some new people through. So definitely hit us up.
Go Cats. Love you guys.